Hey everyone, and welcome to another World of Warcraft Dragonflight Alpha video. In this video, we're going to be checking out the new talent trees for the Druid, specifically Guardian Druid. We're going to be doing this, looking at it from the perspective of trying to create a build that'll work well in open world content for questing, leveling, world quest grinding, and all that kind of stuff. So we are going to be passing over a lot of actually good tanking abilities that will help us in dungeons and raids and stuff, in favor of trying to find low cooldowns, more DPS, stuff like that that's going to help us when we're out there, primarily doing solo questing and stuff like that. In some situations, we may have to take a talent that is specific to tanking, and if so, we're going to look for stuff that's going to help us in scenarios where, we have one or two people. So imagine questing with a friend or a significant other. We're going to kind of opt for the stuff that's going to help us there. So that being said, before we jump into this, I want to remind you guys to please let me know via likes, comments, etc. whether or not you're enjoying this series and you want to see more videos from me beyond the alpha of Dragonflight, because I'm really using these videos as a gauge to figure out what level of interest there is for that type of content. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. This is the first Druid video, so we are going to take a pretty in-depth look at the class side of the talent tree, as well as the specialization side for Guardian. So we are spec'd into Guardian here, and if we look into the talent tree, it looks like they have given us Frenzied Regeneration and also Thrash as our abilities here that we get by default without any talent points put in. So when it comes to Druid, I think one of the important things we need to figure out is what is going to be our sub-spec. So we're going to have a lot of opportunity to kind of go hybrid in Druid. And so we just need to decide from the outset, are we trying to be like Bear Tree, Bear Cat, Bear Moonkin? And generally speaking, I think Cat is one of the better ones to take for open world content. They're all fairly good. I think I would probably pass Resto most of the time. So Bear, you can do big pulls and AoEs, but Bear does have some damage issues. You'll definitely be able to survive pretty well, but it'll take you a little while to get those targets down. Cat, usually you get some benefits of stealth, movement speed, really good single target damage, which you generally don't have as Bear. Resto, you're going to get more heals, but you're pretty tanky as a Bear already, so you don't really need that. And then, going over to Balance has the chance to give you some ways to do things from range, but generally I just think you're kind of, if you're Bear, you're already playing in melee anyway. So I'm looking at this towards the idea of we're going to go Bear hybrid Cat, right? And the idea with Bear is we're going to try to take big pulls against multiple enemies, and if there's a situation where we need to kill enemies one at a time or do more single target damage, we're going to lean more into the Cat side of things when we can. So let's take a look at our spell book, and we're going to see what we have available to us before we even get into the talent tree. So we do have Bark Skin as a nice little defensive cooldown here. We've got Dash for movement speed. We got Entangling Roots for a CC, which we probably won't use too often unless we can cast it from Bear form or Cat form. We've got Ferocious Bite, which is a Cat form specific finisher. So let's swap over to Cat form. It's already in there. We're good to go. We got Frenzied Regeneration as a defensive ability for Bear. We've got our Taunt. We've got Mangle, which we can use in both Bear and Cat form, I believe. Oh, nope, this is Bear specific. We got our Mark of the Wild buff. We've got Moonfire, which we should be able to cast from Bear form. Let's see if we can cast it by default or if it switches us. It does switch us out right now, but usually we can pick up a talent to switch that to being castable in Bear form. Whether or not it's worth getting, we'll have to see. But we do have Moonfire. We've got Prowl for Cat form. We've got our Rebirth, Regrowth. This is going to pop us out of Bear form, so not ideal. If we have to cast it, we have to cast it, but it's not the ideal ability for us to use. We've got Shred for Cat form. We've got Thrash for Bear form. And then we do have access to Wrath as well. So right now we have a single target Bear Rage generator, and we have a multi-target Bear Rage generator. If we get into the Guardian, all we have in here is 2 passives. We got Lightning Reflexes, so we gain dodge equal to 100% of our critical strike from gear. And then we have our Mastery, which is going to increase our max health and healing received, and also increase our attack power. Now, as we go through this, I'm not going to be going in depth, reading every single ability and that kind of stuff. I'm going to assume you have a working knowledge of Druid and Guardian Druid in particular, and I'm mainly just going to touch on things that I need a refresher on or things that seem to be new. We'll save the, in detail kind of stuff for future videos, that are actually guides. So let's get into the talent tree. So we're going to go through this, and we're going to look at this in a particular order. So we're going to check out the active abilities we can pick up, which are the ones in these boxes here. Then we're going to look at the choices we can make, which are the boxes with the arrows. And then we're going to get into the actual passives, which are the circle nodes here, as we kind of build out the tree. Now, Druid is pretty distinct in the sense that you can definitely tell this is Cat, this is Bear, this is Resto, this is Balance. So chances are, without even going down the tree too much, we're probably going to want to stay on the right or the left side of the tree. But we'll see. There may be some interesting stuff we can pick up along the way. So we've got access to Rake. We're going to need Cat form for this. So if we have the points and we want to go heavy into Cat form, this is going to be our Cat form bleed. We've got Rejuve, which will also pop us out of Bear form, so not ideal. We've got Starfire if we want to add some range. We've got Star Surge as well. You need Moon Conform for this, so we would have to invest the full 3 points to get Moon Conform here. We've got Swift Min, which is an instant cast that'll consume a heal over time and heal. So, again, not really ideal because we have to set up with a heal and then consume the heal with Swift Min. Got Remove Corruption, which we don't really care about. We've got Swipe, which Swipe is good. Swipe is a nice little filler for us. AoE filler, no cooldown. We've got Rip, again, Cat form. Finisher for bleed. We've got Maim. This does damage and stuns the target. Another Cat form finisher. Iron Fur to increase our armor as Bear. We've got Skull Bash, which is our charge interrupt as Cat or Bear. We got Cyclone, which tosses an enemy into the air, a little CC. We got Soothe to dispel enrage effects, which we don't care about. We got Sunfire for another AoE dot. This one, I believe, does not end up being castable in Bear form. We got Typhoon, which knocks back enemies. Stampeding Roar for our big AoE movement speed cooldown. Wild Growth, a AoE heal. Got Renewal, which is actually really solid. So this heals you for 30% of your health and is usable in all shapeshift forms. So I generally do like having this out in an open world content. It's not as necessary on Bear, but if we're down this way anyway, it's worth picking up. We've got Innervate, which is all about spell casting, which we don't care about. Nature's Vigil, which causes your single target damage to heal a nearby friendly target. Like, that's solid, but we're not going to go through Innervate to get it. And then we have Heart of the Wild, which for abilities not associated with your specializations becomes substantially empowered for 45 seconds. We're mainly looking at Feral here. So physical damage would be increased by 30% for 45 seconds, which is going to be good for rare spawns and elites. So again, I can already see, like I said, we're probably going to want to go down this side of the tree. There weren't a whole lot of things over on this side of the tree for us to look like, but there are a lot of things over here that we just really don't care about. The middle has some stuff that's potentially appealing, but we'll have to see as we go. So let's take a look at our choices. So the first one here, we can get Tiger Dash, so 45-second cooldown, 200% movement speed over 5 seconds. Or we can get Wild Charge, which lets us fly to an ally's position. If we're going to pick one of these, it's going to be Tiger Dash. Here we have an option between Mighty Bash, which is a 1 minute cooldown, 4-second stun, usable in all shapeshift forms, or Incapacitating Roar, 30-second cooldown, shifts you into bear, and incapacitates all enemies within 10 yards. Damage will cancel the effect. If we go here, we're going to go for the stun, generally speaking. Usually in outdoor content, if you're pulling multiple enemies as a bear, it's intentional, and you're going to have bleeds and stuff on them anyway, so you're probably going to want to not worry about this, because damage will cancel the effect of the incapacitate. Over here, we have a choice between Ursul's Vortex and a Mass Entanglement. So these are both CC abilities more suited for casters. Okay, so let's go through and we're going to build this out, and we're going to check out the passives as we go. So here we have the duration of Bark Skin being increased, leading into Frenzied Regeneration of Bark Skin, increasing all healing received by 20%. So that's like a couple of solid points there. Frenzied Regeneration, like we are going to use that in open world content to heal, so that's not terrible. But it's like not amazing either. We're going to go ahead and grab Swipe. That's going to lead us physical damage and armor increased. We could put 3 points into that, so 6% increased physical damage and armor. Really solid. We don't really need Iron Fur. We may need it for some synergies over here. We don't really need it in open world content, but it looks like it's going to lead us into some other potential options here. So we'll have to see where this is going to take us. So damage reduction. When you use Bark Skin or Survival Instincts, we absorb more damage. For 4 seconds after shifting into a bear form, your health and armor are increased. We're not really going to be shifting too much. I mean, we could make a little shifting metagame out of this if we wanted to, but so yeah, this is really all like just armor and damage reduction, right? If you're going to go in and tank in open world content, like get Iron Fur. You need Iron Fur for tanking, but you don't need it for open world content necessarily. We may still end up putting the points here, but you know, yeah. So over here we've got our cat form stuff. So movement speed increased for 3 seconds after leaving cat form or travel form. You retain up to 40% movement speed. Primal Fury, when you critically strike with an attack that generates a combo point, you gain an additional combo point. Okay. When you fall below 40%, you cast Frenzied Regeneration up to once every 2 minutes. When you shift into a form you haven't been in for 15 seconds, abilities cost no mana, energy, rage, or astral power for 4 seconds. So that's going to help out with the shifting back and forth between bear and cat, and etc. Then let's see. Over here, we've got healing done and taken increased. Got magic damage and healing increased. Increase the range of all your abilities by 3 yards. I mean, that's pretty nice, regardless of whether you're ranged or not. Sunflower applies its damage over time in an AoE. You gain 2% of a stat while in each form. So bear form gives us versatility, cat form gives us critical strike. Cooldown of Stampeding Roar gets reduced by 60 seconds. Rejuvenation's duration is increased. So I think we're going to end up going... so let's grab the cat points here. We're not going to pick up Maim. We're not going to pick up the stun. We're basically just going to switch over to cat form, I think. We'll pick it up if we need to spend points somewhere, but we're going to grab Iron Fur. And then, you know, we will grab it. We'll grab it. So that'll be the points that we'll spend. All right, we're going to get Skull Bash for the interrupt. We're going to get movement speed. And then the question is, I think, you know, in the spirit of being bear, we're going to go for the damage reduction. All right, so we can tank. And then here, we're going to get Tiger Dash. We need to spend 5 more points, okay? So we can go in on Primal Fury. We can go Tireless Pursuit for movement speed. We got 3 points left, so if we want to get Stampeding Roar, we have to get Soothe. That would be 2 of our points there. Alternatively, we could skip Stampeding Roar, but that's gonna... We really need this to go into this bottom little section here, which I really do like. So I think we're gonna do 2 points there, and then we will extend the duration of Bark Skin. Alright, so then we're gonna get the Stat Pump from Lycara's Teaching. We're going to get Renewal, and then we're going to get Heart of the Wild. We got 1 point left, and I think we'll grab the Stun. I think this looks okay. So we're going to pick up all the damage reduction benefits from being a bear, except for this one here. And we're going to kind of exchange that for being able to flexibly switch over to cat form. And do a good job at killing single targets if we need to. Okay, so let's apply that. And make sure we have everything here. So that's going to give us Stampeding Roar. It's going to give us Iron Fur, and it's going to give us Skull Bash. So then, if we switch out, we've got access to Renewal. We also have Heart of the Wild. Then we have Swipe. We also have Soothe, which we don't care about. If we go to Cat Form, so Cat Form, we've got Skull Bash. We've got Thrash, Ferocious Bite. We've got our Shred. We've got Rake. We've got Rip. All the good stuff here. Okay. So, you know, I feel like pretty good about that overall. Just from the default tree, right? So we got a couple of options here with the default. We can go to cat form, and in cat form we can prowl. Coming out of cat form, we're gonna shred. We're gonna put our rake up. We're gonna start thrashing for combo points. Then generally we want to rip on those combo points and cause some bleed. And we're gonna build up our combo points again. We want to make sure rake bleed stays on there, and then build that up into a Ferocious Bite, pretty much. As a bear, we have a lot less to do right now. Still, we didn't really, if you notice, like, we didn't pick up a whole lot of bear abilities. We got Swipe, which should be on here, and then Iron Fur. That's pretty much it. So with bear, there's no stealth involved, right? So we're either going to mangle against a single target, or we're going to swipe against multiple targets. And then we're going to build rage. Actually, we don't even really need swipe. Yeah, there's just not a lot going on as bear. Bear is super boring right now. Mangle to generate rage. Thrash to generate rage. Swipe to hit targets if you want. Cast Iron Fur to spend your rage. Super boring stuff. So let's see if we can make bear a little bit more spicy by getting into the specialization tree. So right now, I mean, you're just rolling out cat, right? Either that or you're just like thrash spamming a bunch. All right, so let's check it out. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to go through the active abilities, the choices, and then the passives. So we have to pick up Maul, which is going to let us maul the target. Cool. So we'll get that. We've got Survival Instincts to reduce the damage we take by 50%. We've got Berserk Ravage. So we go Berserk for 15 seconds, reducing the cooldowns of Mangle, Thrash, and Growl. Combined with other Berserk abilities, granting all known Berserk effects while active. Okay, so we're going to get a few different Berserk things, potentially. Berserk Unchecked Aggression. Go Berserk, increasing your haste and reducing the rage cost of Maul. Okay. Then we have Berserk Persistence. Reduces the cooldown of Frenzied Regeneration by 100% and the cost of Iron Fur by 50%. Interesting. Pulverize, 45-second cooldown, devastating blow that consumes 2 stacks of Thrash, to deal damage and reduce the damage the target deals to you. And then we have Rage of the Sleeper, minute and a half cooldown, unleashes the Rage of Ursoc, preventing damage you take and reflecting a small amount back, and you're immune to control loss of effects on your character. Okay, so that really told me a whole lot of nothing, except that like maybe this left side is going to be where we're going to find some damage, just because this is haste and rage cost reduction, as well as an ability that does damage. Whereas over here, it seemed to be more defensive. So as of right now, that's kind of my read. Like we're looking like left and middle, most likely. But let's look at our choices. We have quite a few down towards the bottom. So here we can pick up Brambles. So this is a passive. We just reflect damage from attacks, and when Barkskin's active, they deal damage to all nearby enemies. Or Bristling Fur, 40-second cooldown, which makes you generate rage based on damage taken. I think Brambles is okay here. It depends. If we feel rage starved, we could grab Bristling Fur, but if we're feeling okay in terms of rage generation, then Brambles is a okay pickup. Down here, we got Dream of Cenarius. When you take non-periodic damage, you have a chance equal to your critical strike chance to make your next regrowth be instant, free, and castable in all forms. This is really good to have, just in general. So what's the comparison here? Thrash and Maul grant you an absorb shield for all damage they deal. I mean, that's pretty good too. So, you know, yeah, that's not bad. Either one of those is a nice pickup for open world content for sure. Here we have Convoke the Spirits. Okay, the crazy Night Fae Druid ability. This will cast Mangle, Ironfur, Moonfire, Wrath, Regrowth, Rejuve, Rake, and Thrash on appropriate nearby targets, favoring your current shape-shifting form. Which means we're going to get Mangle, Ironfur, possibly Moonfire, possibly Regrowth, Rake, or not Rake, and Thrash. Okay, or Incarnation Ursoc. So this is the big 3-minute cooldown that turns you into Super Bear. Makes your Mangle hit up to 3 targets, increases your max health, lasts for 30 seconds. Here we have Soul of the Forest. Mangle generates 5 more rage and deals more damage. That's good. Thrash generates 2 rage each time it deals damage. Also good. Guardian of Elune. Mangle increases the duration of your next Ironfur or the healing of your next Frenzied Regeneration. I mean, this stuff's good for tanking, but not for open world content. After the wildfire, every 200 rage you spend causes a burst of restorative energy, healing allies within 8 yards. That's super cool and super not relevant for this build. Okay, and then finally we have Untamed Savagery. Increase the damage and radius of Thrash by 25% just because. Or Rend and Tear. Each stack of Thrash reduces the target's damage to you by 2% and increases your damage to them by 2%. Spicy. There's a lot of stuff. Okay, the choices spiced it up for sure. And now I really don't know. Because, I mean, there's still stuff over here. But then, like, over here we have, you know, the rage generation. And deals more damage for Mangle. Like, kind of single target. Kind of maybe AoE. Is what I'm getting. Like, AoE, single target. I don't know. Let's start looking at the passives and build it out. So, let's see. Thrash, Swipe, Moonfire, and Maul have a 15% chance to reset the cooldown on Mangle and cause it to generate an additional 4 rage. Yes, we want that. Moonfire, Soothe, Remove Corruption, and Rebirth are usable in bear form. Multiple uses of Ironfur can overlap, and all damage taken in bear form is reduced. So we don't care about Soothe or Remove Corruption or Rebirth, but getting Moonfire here is nice. Getting the multiple uses of Ironfur overlapping is nice, just in general. Like I said, we won't use that much in open world content because we're going to be spending our rage on Maul, but realistically, you're going to end up tanking some, and you're going to want to cast Ironfur even if you're just like tanking a rare spawn and other people are helping you kill it. So having the multiple uses of Iron Fur overlap is nice, and then just the damage reduction in bear form is really good. This is probably a point we're going to pick up, but we're going to see what else we have as options. This also leads us into that Ravage Berserk thing. And this one reduces the cooldown of Mangle and Thrash, which are both damage dealing abilities we're going to use a lot. We got Infected Wounds. Mangle and Maul cause infected wound on the target, reducing their movement speed. We don't really care about that. Regrowth and Frenzied Regeneration. Healing is increased by 20% on yourself, and you get an additional charge of Frenzied Regeneration. That's really good. Frenzied Regeneration is like key to doing big pulls on bear in outdoor content. We've got Survival Instincts now has 2 charges. We don't necessarily need that. Mangle deals additional damage against bleeding targets. That's definitely good. So we're going to take this just to get that. Increase the duration of Bark Skin and Iron Fur. Also pretty good, but probably not where we want to put the points for this build. Mangle has a chance to reduce the rage cost of your next Iron Fur by 25%. Ideal? No. Is it like solid though? Yeah. I mean, if we have to go through here, I don't feel bad about it. But I'm definitely thinking, let's get Brambles. Frenzied Regeneration has an additional charge. Let's get the Adept. Survival Instincts into Mangle. And then I think from here, it's kind of whatever we want to do. So let's look at the next tier of passives and see where we want to go. We got to put 1 point in somewhere. So the question is, do we need a point here or do we need a point here? Or both. We may need a point in both. Okay. Thrash has a 10% chance to trigger an additional Thrash. That'll be 20% with 2 points in. Tooth and Claw passive. Auto attacks have a 20% chance to empower your next Maul, stacking up to 2 times. Empowered Maul deals 40% increased damage and reduces the target's damage to you. Okay. We got Iron Fur has a chance to apply 2 stacks, and Frenzy Regeneration has a chance to consume no charges. Moonfire reduces damage dealt to you by 2%. So out of all of those, I think I like Tooth and Claw more. Let's see, what do these lead to? So this one leads to when you deal direct damage with Thrash, you gain a charge of Earth Warden, reducing damage of the next auto attack you take. I don't really care about that. Maul has an additional chance to critically strike. That's nice. Iron Fur increases armor by an additional %. Moonfire deals increased damage and hits another enemy within 15 yards. Okay, in between, a Mangle increases the damage of your next Maul. Maul increases the damage of your next Mangle. Stampeding Roar radius increased, and your movement speed is just increased by 5%. Your damage has a chance to trigger an automatic Moonfire and generate some rage. So we're going kind of like the Moonfire area over here. We've got some Iron Fur stuff going on here. We've got Thrash, AoE kind of stuff here. And then I think, like, really, I just want to put points into this area here. I think taking Berserk Ravage is what we want to do. Then we'll go Tooth and Claw. We'll go Vulnerable Flesh. Let's see. I think we'll go for the Haste and the Rage cost here. While in bear form, you deal 10% increased arcane damage, which I don't really care about. Like, what are we hitting with arcane? Like, just Moonfire? Yeah, this is basically just Moonfire. Alright, let's check out the rest of these passives, okay? So, this little diamond here, we get the nice, like, Thrash and Maul stuff. Down here, same thing. Pulverize. And Frenzy Regeneration cooldown reduction. So this is very much like we want to play like a Thrash minigame. Alright, this is arcane damage. Damage over time, deal their damage in less time, and your healing over time effects also deal their effects in less time. That's really good for open world content. We've got Convoke the Spirits or the Incarnation, and then shifting out of Berserk before it expires ends the effect and refunds a portion of the cooldown. Convoke the Spirits has an increased chance to use an exceptional spell or ability. That's pretty cool. Over here, while in bear form, you deal 30% increased arcane damage and are healed for 30% of all arcane damage done. I feel like if we wanted to go this route, we would have gone the Moonkin route. Or like the moon fire route. Reduces the cooldown of bark skin and survival instincts. And then we have our different choices here. Yeah, so we've got options. This really makes me feel like this is wasted. Like having to go through like you deal more arcane damage. Okay. But, I mean, what's the point? Literally all I can cast is Moonfire. Let me see something real quick. Like at this point, am I able to cast Moonfire? It shifts me out. I think I saw a talent where it made it castable. But right now, like, I don't want to Moonfire at all. So let's see. Where was that at? Damage has a chance to cast an automatic free Moonfire. Yeah, am I crazy? Moonfire... Soothe, remove corruption, and rebirth are usable in bear form, but for some reason they're not working. So we do have the ability to cast Moonfire from bear form already. So we've got 8 points we need to spend, and I think we want this one, right? 5% movement speed is cool. We'll put a point, 2 points into there. 20% increased arcane damage. So let's assume that we can cast Moonfire from bear, and we want to. So we'll put 2 points here, and then we can do the free Moonfire on the target, I think. Right. So that's going to open this up, and then we can go this like Thrash minigame, or we could just go for the crazy stuff. I like this a lot. The damage over time effects dealing their damage faster, and your heal over time's healing you faster. And then, you know, let's just get Convoke the Spirits and the crazy stuff. Seems good to me. You know, there's literally a couple different ways we could take this. But I think I would probably try this one first. Like, just smashing out Convoke the Spirits, which I don't think it gave it to us. Looks like we can't even use it yet, unless it stuck it in our spell book somewhere. No, we just have like a ton of passives. Holy cow. Maul, Survival Instincts, all passives. So we don't have the Convoke the Spirits, so I think we're actually going to pull out of that. And we can take Regrowth, potentially be free. Thrall and Mash grant us a Absorb Shield, Frenzied Regeneration cooldown reduction. I do like that. Let's put a point there, and let's put a point there. And where else do we want to put a point? And Convoke this. No, I'm just kidding. You know what? Let's just, whatever. We'll do the Berserk. Can't min-max this too hard. You know, it's alpha. There's bugs and stuff. So what do we have now? So now we have Iron Fur. We have Mangle and Thrash. We've got Swipe. We've got Maul as our spender. Then we have Survival Instincts for damage reduction. So basically, as Bear, we're going to go up to the target, and we're going to Mangle or Thrash our way to enough rage to cast Moonfire. Now, Moonfire... Hey, it doesn't shift us out now. Okay, cool. Maybe it's because I didn't hit apply or something. Okay, so yeah, basically we're just going to kind of thrash our way. When Thrash is on cooldown, this is basically how this works. Alright, single target you Mangle, multi-target you Swipe, you Thrash on cooldown. The effect stacks up to 3 times, so if you get to 3 times, then you don't need to stack Thrash any further. If you're playing the like Thrash minigame where you're consuming stacks of Thrash, like this one here, Pulverize, then that kind of changes it up. But for this build, you know, you just go up. If you got a single target, you Mangle until you have enough rage to Maul. You stack Thrash up 3 times in between if they last that long. And if you're doing the same thing against multiple targets from the outset, then you just Swipe instead. So I'm a little bit sad. Also, you'll Moonfire at the start to pull things or to keep that dot on them. So it really would be Moonfire, Mangle on single target. You would Thrash first. Alright, let's start this over. Let's start it over. Okay. So we got a new target. We're going to Moonfire on the target. We're going to Thrash. Get that on cooldown. If it's a single target, we Mangle until we can Maul. We can use our free Moonfires. Thrash off cooldown. We're going to get that back up. Thrash is off cooldown. Now we got 3 stacks of Thrash. So now the priority turns into just doing damage with Mangle till a Thrash stack falls off, and then we can Thrash again. Single target, same thing. You're gonna come, or multi-target, you're gonna come in and Moonfire, right? You'll Thrash to start building stacks. Then you'll Swipe, throw out the free Mangles on your target, which apparently we're getting a lot, and Swipe in between your Thrashes. It's not a lot of buttons, but surprisingly, like, the reason that it was, like... that was really annoying to explain, because I felt like we were constantly just getting shiny buttons the whole time. Like, we only have, realistically, 6 buttons. Not even, because we're not really using... I would actually do, like, this. But, I mean... This whole flow is getting interrupted by shiny buttons the entire time. It seems effective. I can't say that I find it fun or like it, but I mean, if I've got to play Bear as a open world content specialization, I think shiny buttons is probably where I want to be to spice it up. That said, I'm actually pretty surprised by how much of this tree we can, like, mess with in order to get different damage dealing builds. Like, I'm pretty surprised. There's, like, a lot we can do. You know, if you didn't like shiny buttons, you could go for Thrash stack minigame. If you didn't like that, you know, it looks like you could build into more defensives with, like, the Iron Fur stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how this changes when we make a tank build and what we want to do with it. But, I mean, for open world content, I think this is fine. Just hit the flashy buttons. We'll have to take it out and see how it does, which we'll do in a future video. We'll take all the specializations out into the actual open world. we'll test them out against real enemies and see how they do, see what sort of changes we want to make. You know, we're not really min-maxing right now. This is kind of the first thing I came up with by looking at the tree. So we'll see how it goes. But I think that's going to do it for this video. So let me know via likes and comments what you thought of the video if you're enjoying this series. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one.